Welcome to the live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by our community guideline. Welcome to the live chat. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by our community guideline. All we do is win. And if you came for MAGA, put your hands in the air. Let them stay there. All we do is win Wednesday, baby. All we do is win Wednesday. That's all we do. All we do is win Wednesday. Another victory of MAGA victory for the winners of the world. Another win Wednesday, man. MAGA win Wednesday, man. How's everybody doing, man? Get your funky butts on in here, man. Get on in here, like, share, subscribe, follow the etiquette. First in the chat, get shouted out. First in the chat, get shouted out without a doubt. First in the chat, get shouted out without a doubt. Come on in, double tap. Hit the like, share, and subscribe, man. Thank you, everybody who came in and watched yesterday. Hit the like button. Very respectful. Thank you to YouTube. YouTube provided some new tools to us. YouTube been listening to the content creators, and we are very thankful to YouTube for listening to the content creators, providing new tools for us to do our job and be successful, provide a quality, high quality podcast, high quality entertaining podcast. How is it coming together, y'all? How's it coming together? I think it's coming together forever. All right. Thank y'all for coming in, man. Double tap, hit the like button, man. As you come in, man, make sure you welcome to the live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by community guidelines. Come on in, y'all. See another fire thumbnail, another fire day. We getting it fired up. What's today? October 11th coming up. I'm very excited about what's coming through. Mrs. Perfect Timing, first in the chat. Get the shout out without a doubt. You want to look like Mrs. Perfect Timing lit up in the chat? Go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. When you subscribe to the channel, you're going to get a plus sign. It'll give you the opportunity to join and become a member. Join the conversation. Become a member of the hottest conversation on YouTube, the most intellectual, politically charged conversation you could basically have out here right now. We not rehashing old topics. We talking about everything fresh and new. We talking about Ice Blitz, Blitzkrieg, Ice Blitz across the nation. I want to hear from you. What do you hear? I want to know from the audience, man. I want you to get in the chat. Tell me how you feel about the ICE, what's going on about the National Guard. We're going to talk about it today. Let me know about Trump, because everybody's in the news. Everybody got the news. Everybody got the blues. And what we do here, Trump news, giving Democrats the boo-hoo-hoo blues, giving Democrats the boo-hoo-hoo, and they got the blues today on All We Do Is Win Wednesday. Clap it up out there at home, man. The way you clap it up and the way you support the channel is you double tap, hit the like, share, and subscribe, man. Double tap, hit the like, share, and subscribe. What's up with everybody? Let's get our goal out there, official goal. If you guys want to be a member, if you guys want to be a member of a members only live stream, I need you to support the goal. Member only live stream. Membership has its privileges. Membership has its privileges. That will be the reward. Let's go. Let's start the goal. 15 super chats is the goal. Let's get it going early. Hey, what's that song I like, babe? You get it going. Get it going early. Get the ball in the refrigerator. Get it going early. So we got our chat going. We got our podcast going. Hey, how's everybody doing this morning? Like I said, I want to hear from you in the comment section during the podcast, after the podcast. Let us know how you feel about how Trump is handling immigration across the nation. It's the topic of the day. I told you we in the driver's seat. We are the trending topic. We are in the driver's seat in conservative politics, neoconservative, geopolitical conversation. This is the spot for it. This is the podcast. Every day, 11 a.m. Come on in, join the conversation. We're going to have a round rumpus discussion this morning about immigration and the Trump administration approach to immigration. I want to hear from you in the chat. How do you feel about the Trump administration? How do you feel about the Trump presidency? How do you feel about how Trump is handling immigration? Do you even believe that we have an immigrant? I want to hear a lot from the chat. I want to hear a lot from the YouTube community before, during, and after the podcast. I got to hear from the public. We must know. Double tap and hit the like button. If you're in Portland, I would appreciate you tapping in. If you're in Portland, if you're in Illinois, in Chicago, I would appreciate you tapping in. What do we hear? Who's going to be next? We have been doing predictions of who's going to be next. We said East St. Louis because somebody came in the chat and told us about the enormous crime in East St. Louis. A lot of us wasn't aware. Thank you to everybody in the chat. This is why I'm opening up the chat to ask people how they feel. We heard about Chicago. We heard about East St. Louis, East Oakland, South Sacramento, where we had a triple homicide. And we have 4 people involved with that triple homicide. Shot spotter technology didn't even locate it. So we've been saying what's going to be next. When I look at the reports of the Ice Blitz rollout, what I found is that Memphis may be next. Now, number one, I didn't predict Portland. How many people I should have predicted Portland off of the statistics that we presented yesterday with that 400 to 500% increase in homicide? We saw a huge uptick in crime and homicide in Portland, Oregon during 2022, 2023, and 20. These demographics and crime changed. This was a bedroom community. Portland, Oregon was never known to be plagued with crime, gangs, or homicide. We're talking about maybe 2 homicides, 6 at the most. I think the highest before this crime wave in Portland was maybe 6 homicides, right? Then the previous administration takes power, you know what I'm saying? And then you have this crime explosion across the nation. Can anybody explain to me why when the Democrats are in power, we had crime explode in bedroom communities like Portland, Oregon? And we never unpacked the demographics of what really happened to America during the last administration. Portland, Oregon, when I say bedroom community, do you understand there's mostly your traditional, middle American type of community there. There's not a lot of minorities. There's not a lot of low income. There's mostly affluent Protestant type of environment, bedroom community. And then how does this such a community with 2 to maybe at the most 6 homicides go to a 400, 500 increase? I'm going to show you video of Portland, a public park in Portland. Now remember, the context of the video is the fact that Portland is one of the most aggressive cities when it came to democratic policies as it relates to police. When it comes to police reform, defund the police. In East Oakland, the reason why you have the crime, we listened to the black chief of police in East Oakland. What happened? The city council removed 14 million. Remember when we talked about the East Oakland and the Oakland City Council removing 14 million? Well, I'm going to present to you a story where in Portland, they got $100 million. They took money from the police and they were supposed to spend the money. We talked about this yesterday. The misappropriation of funds. Defund the police. How does defund the police reforms act? Well, the money goes to corrupt city councils. So you have money being spent on police in Chicago, in DC, all of these liberal democratic cities where we're seeing ICE need to go, where we need National Guard, we need ICE. Why? Because the cities are broken. It's not just about immigration. There was a reason why Venezuelan gangs, Trinidad and Tobago, went to certain cities. They knew they were wide open, that because of Democratic policies like that in California with Gavin Newsom, you wouldn't be prosecuted because of sanctuary cities that are not based in legality. Why if you're an immigrant and you don't have anything, why wouldn't you go to a sanctuary city? I have a video of a local Chicagoan talking about when Venezuelan gang members came to Chicago, Mayor Lori Lightfoot gave them EBT cards with $10,000. Lori Lightfoot gave them preloaded credit cards. Lori Lightfoot gave them 6 months of free lodging. So why would you go to any other city? Why? And then think about this. This is a city, Chicago, that houses South Chicago. And then this is the great thing about the video. The man states that when those Venezuelan gang members came to Chicago, they didn't go to communities like Oak Park, where your president Barack Obama lives. They went to South Side Chicago, Ingleside. You know what I'm saying? 63rd. So why, when the immigrants come to Democratic cities, they only go to this specific part of the city? So the Democratic liberals, like I said, on Labor Day can have a party, and the Democratic liberals can celebrate immigration, but the immigrants are not in their neighborhood. You know who else are not in Democratic liberal elite millionaire neighborhoods? You. No minorities, no blacks, and no single moms. The people who vote for the Democrats, do you realize in downtown Chicago, where I talk about a lot, Chicago is full of multi-million-dollar homes, the Chicago Art Institute, the Empire State Building, famous colleges. You guys don't even know because Hotep is an old thing, but famous colleges that steered history in America all live and exist in Chicago. Chicago is rich American history, but for some reason, the Democratic leadership, not just the governor, but the mayor, has allowed certain section of Chicago, Southside Chicago specifically, to be run rampant with gangs and violence. And then when immigration, when you call it a sanctuary city, you don't put immigrants in Oak Park in Chicago. You understand what I'm saying? You did not put the immigrants with free lodging with the Democratic liberals who are fighting against Trump in the Midway Blitz. I bet you the opinions of those Democratic liberal millionaire elites would change if they started housing immigrants in millionaire neighborhoods. How about you move out your backyard or your garage and you start putting Venezuelan immigrants in your Oak Park $1 million home? And then we have a discussion about immigration in Chicago. Can we do that? Because as far as I understand, all of the immigrants, 40,000 went to Southside Chicago. And we never talk about that. There's a reason why on Labor Day in Chicago, you can have a parade downtown Chicago, but 9 people were shot on Labor Day weekend. I'm going to say that again. It's a reason because people don't understand logistics and demographics. There is a reason why you can have a parade downtown Chicago, but in Southside Chicago, the numbers were 9 people shot Labor Day weekend, 71 shootings. And people don't get it. Like, how can there be 71 shootings and 9 murders in Chicago, but the mayor is having a party and a parade in what looks like to be Chicago? People don't understand the dichotomy, the duality, the separation, right? The wealth gap, and how I'm just wondering how and why do Democrats benefit from these realities when you have most Democrat elites living in a millionaire part of Chicago and they're not plagued with gangs? Do y'all remember when FBG Duck was shot? The thing about his shooting is the fact that he was in the area of Chicago that he was shopping at a Gucci store in a part of Chicago that is not plagued with gangs. He felt safe because everyone in Chicago knows where the violence is. Can I get a hand clap in the chat? Everyone in Chicago knows where the violence is. And isn't it just a coinky dink that the immigrants and the free lodging provided to the immigrants, the EBT cards, the credit, all of it was provided for them in black neighborhoods. Now, I recall during the last administration, 2022, 2023, and 2024, when Trente de Agua, TDA, came to Chicago, I remember video from black residents of Chicago asking for help and crying out about the fact how unfair it was. How many people saw videos of black Chicago's saying how unfair it was that these immigrants got 10,000? How do you think we learned about the EBT? Does anybody realize how do you think we learned about? Because the citizens of Chicago saw them come into local stores and shops, and when you shop with your EBT, it prints out how much is the remaining balance on the bottom of the receipt. So the Chicago blacks learned very quickly what benefits, despite no reparations, no help coming to Southside Chicago, despite the duality. At the same time, beautiful Chicago over here, Southside Chicago deadly over here. Despite those truths, black Chicagoans in 2022, 2023, and 2024 made videos about how unfair it was that these immigrants were being sent to Southside Chicago before you ever try to fix the gangs, before you ever try to fix the crime. Now you are influxing Southside Chicago with all of the immigrants, right? Not only did they send them to Southside Chicago and not Oak Park, Chicago, then they gave them benefits that they never gave the Southside Chicago blacks. So it became contentious in Southside Chicago because the blacks in Southside Chicago wanted to know why they got $10,000 in EBT, why they got 6 months free lodging. What is a sanctuary city when you arrest and throw RICO charges at my son, who is a citizen with a World War II father and vet? So what and how and why did this happen in Chicago? That was the video during the Trump administration. Isn't it perverse and perverted that it went from black Chicagoans complaining about being evicted by a gang? I remember when Trente de Agua came to Chicago, and it wasn't the news media. If you remember, we're in a social media era. The way we learned about the Venezuelan gang, number one, Trump told us that the Venezuelan had opened up the prison. Like, Trump told us that a lot of the immigration wasn't coming from Mexico. People being racist against Mexicans don't understand what's going on with immigration. A lot of the immigration did not come from North America. A lot of the immigrants came from South America, like Venezuela, where Venezuela leadership under Biden, when Biden opened the border, Venezuelan leaders, because the whole idea around open borders is these people were fleeing. You understand what I'm saying? These people were fleeing cartels in South America. But what actually happened is the Venezuelan leadership opened up prisons. Do you remember when Trump talking about the Venezuelan leadership opening up prisons and releasing their prisoners and sending all of the criminals to America? Do you guys remember that? I think Trump got demonized for being honest about what this political 4D chess was actually happening. Yes, they released criminals in South America. Those were the people that came across the border. As I talked about it yesterday, what came up? 40,000 people went to Aurora, Colorado. Because remember, when we started talking yesterday, we talked about Chicago and Portland. But what we came up yesterday is the fact that I recall videos from Aurora, Colorado, Denver, Colorado. Do you guys remember those same videos? Not from the news media. Remember, the news didn't report this because Biden was president and the news was pro-Biden. That's what Trump has already taught us. This is what MAGA understands. So the news was not in Aurora, Colorado. Can we get a hand clap? The news, CNN and MSNBC was late to the party. Can people from Chicago, people from Aurora in the chat be honest? People were MSNBC and CNN were not in Aurora, Colorado, and they were not in Southside Chicago. So I looked it up. Aurora, Colorado, 40,000 Venezuelan immigrants into a suburban community of Denver, Colorado. It's not even the major capital city of Denver. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? They didn't even they sent them into a suburb, Aurora. Aurora, Colorado was overran by 40,000 Venezuelan criminals. And there was outcry. This is the thing that we're talking about today, the dichotomy and the duality. We have 200 people watching and we have 3 likes. I want to thank everybody watching. Thank you for supporting. I'm going to ask you now to double tap and hit the like button. If everybody hit the like button right now, we'd have 200 likes and we'd go to 1,000 viewers. It's very easy to get the podcast to get to 1,000 viewers. We've done it many times before. The reason that we need 1,000 is because we want to have a discussion with the whole entire country. We want to have people from Portland in the house. We want to have people from Chicago in the house. We want to have people from Memphis. Why is Midway Blitz on its way to Memphis next? Can anybody in the chat tell me why Memphis is next on Trump's list, right? So what I need you to do is double tap, hit the like button. If you don't know how to hit the like button, in the top right-hand corner, there's 3 dots. That's called an ellipsis. Hit the ellipsis. It'll give you the opportunity to hit the like button, like, share, and subscribe. Let's do a station identification. Back at it like a crack at it, automatic like a fomatic, built from tragedy, made for static. It's your boy, Perfect Timing Podcast, back with the blast, in and out with a dash. 2025 won't last, so we're going to get this done real fast. Belinda the Blender. How you doing, Belinda? I always loved me a Belinda. I had a few Belindas in my life, and they was always Blenders. I knew this girl named Belinda. The homeboys called her Belinda the Blender. When I met Belinda, let me stop. Back at it like a crack at it, back at it like a crack at it, automatic like a fomatic, built for tragedy, made for static, every day at 11 a.m. Double tap hit the like button every day at 11 a.m. Top of the mid-morning from an OG perspective. I like me a gilf. You don't know how old I am. Bring that 65-year thing over here, and obviously you know the lyrics. Belinda the Blender, Belinda Moore knows the lyrics. Is the lyrics fitting of the name? Because she said, watch it, I'm 65. She did not say, I don't know that song. She did not say, I don't know those lyrics. How about that, man? How about that, man? Hey, that's that snapper, man. How about that, man? Let's keep going, man. Double tap hit the like button. We need 100 likes 5 minutes ago, man. 100 likes. How y'all like that thumbnail, man? How y'all like that thumbnail? I like that thumbnail a lot. God, dog, I did not mean to close that. How did you do that? Oh, man. I did not mean to close that, man. Oh, man. So today they want to play with a slusher. Today they want to play with it. Look at everything just moving. Everything just moving. I had all my stuff clicked up, ready to go. Everything just moving. Okay, get the moving, man. Get the moving, man. I had all my stuff clicked up, ready to go. They just taking all my stuff away. Can I have my video? Can I stop moving, man? Can I have my video? I'm not asking you to move. I'm not asking you to move. I'm not asking you to move. I said, can I have my video, man? Can I have, look at, they just, oh man, Twitter going crazy, man. Okay. Twitter going crazy, man. Hey, I love it. I love it. I love it. So what we're talking about today is immigration, Operation Midway Blitz, Trump asking for, wow, can I get my, man, they fighting me today, boy. I'm telling y'all think it's easy being a YouTuber. It's not easy being a YouTuber, man. They are fighting me today. Literally, I'm watching just the computer just glitch all over the place. How y'all feel about this immigration? I got some videos. I got some talking points. I don't even know where to go from here. What do we do? How do we get the computer to act right? You know what I'm saying? Oh, okay. That's what it was. That's some bullshit. That is some bullshit. A bullshit. All right. Where y'all want to start? We're going to start in Chicago. Now, remember what I said. I have been bringing up the dichotomy and duality that goes down in Chicago, I see a vigorous debate going on in the chat. What I would suggest you guys do is join the channel. Not just like, share, and subscribe, but join the channel so that you can become a member and your voice can be highlighted in the chat. I'm telling you, this is the #1 intellectual political conversation on YouTube. There is nobody having this conversation the way we are having this conversation. These intellectual facts and points will only be brought out at this level of conversation on this podcast because everybody else is trying to benefit from the situation and not be honest. So you have to go to independent media. Independent media, like myself, have to work hard, has to present the facts. Let me show you something again. That's very difficult. Let's present real anecdotal evidence that's extremely difficult to dismiss. It's hard to dismiss these realities. When I go to Aurora, Colorado, 40,000 Venezuelans, when we bring up a Venezuelan prison being open, when we bring up Trinta de Agua, when we bring up the fact that Chicagoans, not MSNBC, not CNN, not MSNBC, not CNN, they didn't go to Chicago, right? We're talking about local people with their cell phones were in Chicago filming I remember how we got the video of that apartment complex being taken over. That was local, on the ground, on the spot video of a citizen. That wasn't the police. That wasn't the news. That was someone who lived in that area, familiar with, remember, it was a black woman. She was filming the apartment complex, and you could hear that classical black female voice in the background. Look at them, y'all. Look at them, y'all. They taking over this apartment complex. Look at them, y'all. These immigrants that came here and they took over. Ain't no police, ain't nobody doing nothing. Who remember that video? I remember that video. That video wasn't from a Trumper. That video wasn't propaganda. That video was from an everyday black woman with her cell phone filming Trinta de Agua, Venezuelan criminal cartel gang taking over an apartment complex in Chicago with extortion and crime. We all saw the video. You know what else we saw? We saw similar videos in Aurora, Colorado, and we looked it up. And what did we find? 40,000 immigrants came into Aurora, Colorado, Venezuelan criminal. So what do we do with them? Let's look at local Chicago folks and see what they got to say.
Black people in Chicago, let's get this clear for the record so nobody is confused, right? In 2020 and 2021, when Democrats, specifically Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, flooded Chicago with the illegal, undocumented criminal invaders, y'all didn't have nothing to say about that, right? When the mayor, Lori Lightfoot, gave them benefits, millions, prepaid EBT cards with $10,000 on it, prepaid Visa cards, 6 months worth of free rent, free healthcare, free childcare, y'all were okay with that. And then you all continue to be okay with it by going out and voting for Kamala Harris to continue what she was doing with the open borders, right? Now that ICE is there to actually do something about it, right? With Trump's mandate, now you all are boohoo, whining and crying, complaining that ICE is coming to black neighborhoods. What the hell is wrong with y'all? Where else are they supposed to go when that's where y'all allowed them to go? You see, Democrats didn't put these illegals in Oak Brook or Oak Park or Evanston, in any of the white neighborhoods, yet you got the white liberals downtown protesting to keep those people there because they know that they're in black neighborhoods. And y'all goofy. Y'all falling for this. Y'all voted for Kamala Harris, and now y'all are protesting ICE coming to black neighborhoods to remove these criminal invaders. Y'all are calling ICE racist for coming to the black neighborhoods. Well, why are they coming to the black neighborhoods? Because that's where you all allowed them to go. So tell me you a goofy Democrat plantation slave without telling me you a goofy Democrat plantation slave.
Hey, tell me you a goofy Democrat plantation slave without telling. Can I clap in the chat? Can I get a hand clap for this intelligent young black brother? I'm not the only black man who can see. I'm not the only black brother who knows the truth. Can we get a hand clap in the chat for this intelligent young black man? Can we get a hand clap in the chat? He said, why is ICE going to the black neighborhoods? It's because that's what Kamala Harris and Joe Biden sent the immigrants. They are going to the black neighborhoods to get the immigrants out of the black neighborhoods because they didn't allow the immigrants in Oak Park, the $1 million communities of Chicago. They only sent the immigrants to South Side Chicago. Can we get a hand clap for this intelligent young black brother? See, he's not on the Democratic plantation. He has Blexit the fuck out of here. I said many times, Blexit the fuck out of the Democratic Party. He said, tell me you're a Democratic plantation slave without telling me you're a Democratic plantation slave. No, we Blexit the fuck out the Democratic Party. Blexit the fuck out of the Democratic Party. And let's just be honest. Aurora, Colorado, 40,000, Southside Chicago. You saw the video. We didn't need this, brother, but thank him for being honest. I love the honesty. I didn't need the video, but I wanted to show you receipts and proof. But I saw the video of the black woman film Trita de Agua extort black tenants. We all saw the video. We saw videos from Aurora, Colorado. Why are we playing cognitive dissonance in 2026 when someone finally showed up? Someone finally showed up to fix the problem. We begged Biden. Do you remember we begged Biden, black people, $10,000 EBT card, $10,000 credit card, free health care. But right now, the government is shut down. Do you know why the government is shut down? Because of everything he listed, Democrat lawmakers still want. Everything they want to give immigrants credit cards. They want to give immigrant on your tax dollar. That's why the government can't get a budget right now, because they want to give immigrants health care. They want to give immigrants child care. Can we be honest? Anybody talking about we almost in 2 weeks, who is disproportionately negatively affected by the government shutdown? How I read to you statistics, overwhelmingly black Americans are employed by the federal government. So who is being hurt the most by government shutdown? Black employed. It's not just that it's black Americans, but it's black employed Americans, because Democrats want to continue these sanctuary cities' unconstitutional policies. Do you know there is no constitutional basis for EBT cards? There's no constitutional basis for sanctuary cities. There's no constitutional basis for giving illegal health care. There's no legality. When we looked up the definition of sanctuary city, what did we find? That it doesn't have any basis in legality and constitution. When we looked up ICE-free zones, what did we find? That ICE-free zones put police in a bad predicament, because the police are sworn to uphold the Constitution, and ICE-free zones in sanctuary cities are not constitutional by law. This is why you go to Supreme Court. Do you understand? When things are created by Democrats, remember what we read. It said municipal law. What did I bring up? The difference between common law, maritime law, and the definition of an ICE-free zone is where certain municipal laws, that's falling on the heads of police officers who are already overworked in Chicago, overworked and underpaid and understaffed. So now you want overworked police officers in Chicago to implement an ICE-free zone that is not constitutional nor legal. What type of leadership do you have in Chicago? Do you understand what I'm saying? For those of you who disagree with me and you don't like ICE or National Guard, what about the Chicago PD? The Chicago PD, it's their job. The Chicago PD, it's their job to protect citizens, right? But ICE-free zones stop Chicago PD from doing their job, because now Chicago PD have to implement ICE-free zones where certain municipal laws will not be enforced against immigrants. Have you, as an American, ever ran into a police has been told not to enforce certain laws because you're an American citizen? Isn't that perverse? Isn't that perverted that Democrats are telling police not to enforce certain municipalities? Well, I voted for those municipalities. My tax dollars pay for those municipalities, those municipal laws. I want police to enforce them. I don't want police to ignore those municipalities simply because it's an immigrant. How many people thinks that perverse? How many people thinks that's perverse, right? So as a citizen, I have to follow the municipal laws, the common law, the maritime law, but ICE-free zones and sanctuary cities instruct law enforcement to just forego certain municipalities, certain laws, because we are a sanctuary city. We are a sanctuary city. Do you know how much it costs to be a sanctuary city? Does anyone know how much it costs to be a sanctuary city? I just want to tell you why the government is shut down. The government is shut down because Democrats want to continue ICE-free zones and sanctuary city policies that are not free. Do you guys understand it's not free? Portland, Oregon is not free. Having the ICE-free zones is not free. Sanctuary cities are not free. It costs hundreds of millions of dollars, money that could be going to overtime, money that could be going to retraining and recruiting more police officers, but instead they defund the police. Crooked city councils take that money, embezzle that money, and then the money that comes in to fix the problem, it goes and disappears, just like Gavin Newsom, honey. Let's play this video one more time. A lot of people coming in and out of the chat. Double tap, hit the like button. We got 400 people watching. I need you to double tap, hit the like button, like, share, and subscribe. If you're so inclined, hit the super chat. And I love you. Thank you for supporting me in America. Let's take a look at this local Chicago young man, a very honest young man, in his depiction and reaction. I want to hear from you in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Do you agree with this young man who's from Chicago, how he feels about the racist situation?
Black people in Chicago, let's get this clear for the record so nobody is confused, right? In 2020 and 2021, when Democrats, specifically Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, flooded Chicago with the illegal, undocumented criminal invaders, y'all didn't have nothing to say about that, right? When the mayor, Lori Lightfoot, gave them benefits, millions, prepaid EBT cards with $10,000 on it, prepaid Visa cards, 6 months worth of free rent, free healthcare, free childcare. Y'all were okay with that. And then you all continue to be okay with it by going out and voting for Kamala Harris to continue what she was doing with the open borders, right? Now that ICE is there to actually do something about it, right, with Trump's mandate, now you all are boohoo, whining and crying, complaining that ICE is coming to black neighborhoods. What the hell is wrong with y'all? Where else are they supposed to go when that's where y'all allowed them to go? You see, Democrats didn't put these illegals in Oak Brook or Oak Park or Evanston, in any of the white neighborhoods, yet you got the white liberals downtown protesting to keep those people there because they know that they're in black neighborhoods. And y'all goofy. Y'all falling for this. Y'all voted for Kamala Harris, and now y'all are protesting ICE coming to black neighborhoods to remove these criminal invaders. Y'all are calling ICE racist for coming to the black neighborhoods. Well, why are they coming to the black neighborhoods? Because that's where you all allowed them to go. So tell me you a goofy Democrat plantation slave without telling me you a goofy Democrat plantation slave.
Woo! That boy cooking. That boy cooking. Tell me you a goofy Democrat plantation slave without telling me you a goofy plantation Democratic slave. Woo! And he didn't even get into Aurora, Colorado. He didn't even get into Trenta de Agua in Venezuela. He didn't even get into Aurora, Colorado and Trenta de Agua. He just got into the fact that what we talked about with Labor Day, that they sent the reason why ICE is in black neighborhoods in Chicago is because liberal Democrats did not allow them to go to the rich $1 million neighborhoods in Chicago like Oak Park. They specifically put them in South Chicago, right? Let's get some more information. I'm going to read you some more information. I am fighting today with this cell phone. You would think that the cell phone has a spirit inside of it. You know what I'm saying? The cell phone is moving like it's alive, you guys. I do this every day. The cell phone don't move, but the cell phone is moving like it's alive today. Can you stay still? I think everything be fighting against you, boy. God is good, man. Come on, come on. I'll just hold the phone. I'll just hold the phone. I'm not going to fight with it. I'm not going to let it frustrate me. Oh, man, let me read, man. Let me read. Let me read, man. I had a couple groke up, and my other groke seemed like it's gone. Let me see with the research. Nope. All right. Today we are announcing the arrest. So they arrested the guy who started, so supposedly they arrested the guy. Trump demands arrest for Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson and Governor JB Pritzker over ice protection. Hey, Big Daddy Beard Gamer, how you feeling? How you doing, brother? How you feeling? How you doing? I'm dealing with these fiscal finicky ass viewers, man. We had 300-400 people watching, and I get a little bit of issues with the camera, and hundreds of people leave. What's up with your Big Daddy Beard Gamer? BDBG? Go ahead and double tap, hit the like button. We still fighting for 100 likes. We got to fight for 100 likes around here. It's important to get to 100 likes. If we had all 300, 400 people who are watching, hit the like button, we easily, quickly get to 1,000. And we can include more people in the conversation. I see a lot of people disagreeing. This is the thing. As the host, I'm staying on topic. I'm delivering my information. So I can't address everybody in the chat. If you want me to address something you're saying in the chat, I'm going to ask you, put it in the super chat. It will be lit up for everybody to read. Then we'll read it and I'll give you personal attention. Put what your question in a super chat format. Follow the YouTube etiquette, and then we can move like that. But I appreciate the chat room. The chat room going crazy today on this topic. Thank you, everybody who showed up, who's sharing their opinion. Whether you disagree with me or not, America is not about always being in agreement. I learn from the people disagreeing from me in the chat. So I thank you, everybody watching. Double tap, hit the like button. We need 100 likes right now. Andrew, I seen you before. You know, I saw Mendez earlier up there saying something powerful, but it's hard to see everything from my perspective, right, as the host. So that's why I asked, put it in the super chat or become a member. When you become a member of the channel, your voice is also lit up because your name, I can see you better. If you didn't notice, I got glasses. So I need you to either become a member, put your question in the super chat, and while you at it, double tap, hit the like button. Let's get the numbers up. Now, let's go into detail. If you look on my thumbnail, you'll actually see messages both from Trump and Pritzker. Trump on my thumbnail. Damn. Trump on my thumbnail was saying and calling for an arrest of Pritzker, and Trump on my thumbnail was calling for an arrest of Pritzker, and then Pritzker was saying also on my thumbnail, and this is all happening on social media. Isn't it powerful that this is all happening on social media? So let's keep going forward. Trump demands arrest of Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. I talked about this. I talked about this. I talked about ice-free zones. I talked about supporting the National Guard, yesterday we talked about the chain of command. We talked about your favorite police show. Remember Law and Order SVU. What's your favorite police drama right now? Whatever your favorite police drama is, one of the favorite episodes is when it's a high profile case, when somebody comes in with a better suit, comes in and say, this is my case now. And the number one Ice-T runs over and says, how can this person come in on my investigation? Well, he's from the what? He's from the FBI, The Wire. Same thing with The Wire. You didn't did all this research on what was it, the Barksdales or whoever it was, Marlowe, and here come the feds, the FBI come in over the local police, just like ICE, just like National Guard. And it doesn't matter that you've been investigating Marlowe and the Barksdales for 2 years and you didn't spend overtime and drink coffee and you didn't expend all type of expenditures. When the FBI walks in the door and hands you that piece of paper, they are taking over the investigation. Why? Because of chain of command. What is lacking with the mayor of Chicago and the Illinois governor? This is the same thing that plagued Mayor Bowser and the chief of police, two incompetent black women in Washington, D.C. When asked, have you been seeing, you know what I said to my wife last night? Pam Bondi kicked major ass on Capitol Hill. Pam Bondi was kicking major ass on Pam Bondi was kicking ass and taking names. But Mayor Bowser, the incompetent mayor of DC, has been looking like a fool. And it's, you know what's so sad about it? It's not that she's a black woman. It's that she has been mayor for over 10 years and 3 terms. When she got asked questions by senators, the black senator, black congressman, she could not answer the questions. Mayor Bowser, mayor of DC, 3-time mayor, 10 years, everybody talking about DC ain't never talked about the fact that Mayor Bowser been mayor over a decade and did not do nothing about crime in DC. So I saw her be in a questioning. I told you about Mayor Bowser and avoiding questions, and they had to go to the deputy mayor. It was embarrassing, but then they had the brother just the other day, had her on Capitol Hill asking her questions, and again, she was embarrassing, just like Kamala Harris. Can we be honest? Can we be honest? They asked her, speak to DC. Speak to DC being crime-free now, and DC then. She has not been able to, and this is what I said last week. Mayor Bowser, this was wrong with the Democratic Party. Mayor Bowser, black female mayor of DC, let you down. See, Mayor Bowser, by her own failure, she fell forward. She got elevated to a national political level. If Mayor Bowser was a good politician, if the black female mayor of DC was a good politician, and she could have elevated herself on a national platform. Do you get it? She's been asked questions. She's been avoiding CNN. She's hiding from the press. This is an opportunity. Look at Pete Buttigieg. This is your black community. This is your black Democrats. Can we be honest? These are your black Democrats. Pete Buttigieg took advantage of his national elevation. Pete Buttigieg. So I see that. Let me. Thank you, Mrs. Perfect Time. Let's clean up the chat real quick. Let's clean up the chat real quick. So Mayor Bowser had been embarrassing on Capitol Hill. Now, that was one thing, but you contrast that against Pam Bondi's performance on Capitol Hill and how Pam Bondi's performance, think about it, these are two women with equal opportunities. Pam Bondi gets elevated to the national stage. People could argue Pam Bondi was elevated because of her incompetence in how she handled the Epstein files. Be that as it may, however Pam Bondi got to the national stage, whether or not you argue Pam Bondi got there from her incompetence, you gotta say both Pam Bondi and Mayor Bowser, black woman, white woman, both elevated to the national stage. You could argue equally that Mayor Bowser had been elevated to the national stage because of her incompetence, right? But be that as it may, Pam Bondi, Mayor Bowser, both on the national stage facing inquisition. Who came out looking better? Who came out faring? Pam Bondi kicked major butt and took names. Mayor Bowser looked embarrassing. Pam Bondi been in office for 6 months. They asking Pam Bondi like she's been the AG for years. This is the thing that loses context with the Democrats. She hasn't been AG for years. She's been in office 6 months. No, Mayor Bowser has been in political office for over a decade. This is her 3rd term. You would think she would take advantage of this opportunity. She would have to get on stage and say Trump is a bad guy. Look at all the people in the chat who hate Trump. If Mayor Bowser was articulate, if Mayor Bowser was charismatic, the Democrats would have a new leader on their hand. Somebody new to look to, a Jasmine Crockett #2. But instead, what is Mayor Bowser hiding? She's hiding because she's incompetent. Let's just be honest about why DC was in the situation it is in. Let's just be honest about why Chicago is plagued with gangs and drugs and violence. Can we be honest today? Can we be honest today? Let's go over the details. Trump demands arrest of Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson and Governor J.B. Pritzker over ICE protection. President Donald Trump called for the arrest of Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker on Wednesday for failing to protect federal ICE officers during immigration raids in the city. On Wednesday, that's today. The demand follows the arrival of Texas National Guard troops in a Chicago suburb without local approval amid lawsuits from Illinois and Chicago officials claiming violations of state sovereignty and Posse Cumulus Act. The standoff reflects ongoing conflicts between federal immigration enforcement and Chicago's sanctuary city policies. Somebody in the chat, I must be new. It said they wanted the definition of sanctuary city. It says here the standoff reflects ongoing conflicts between federal immigration enforcement and Chicago's sanctuary city policies. So I'm going to look it up. I've given this definition before, and I tell you, because Google is left leaning, it comes up different every time. So let's look at sanctuary city definition. A sanctuary city is a city whose municipal laws tend to protect undocumented immigrants from deportation or prosecution. Listen to this last part. Despite, this is the part that is putting local police in, and this is how you be a bad leader. This is how you be a bad leader, because you're asking local police to go against a sworn mandate. Local police are sworn to uphold the Constitution. So listen to this. A sanctuary city in North America is a city whose municipal laws, remember we talked about common law, maritime law, sanctuary city definition specifically calls out municipal law. If you are not educated in politics and crime and law, this might not be the chat for you. This might not be the audience for you, because you may not, this may be above your pay grade. Shout out to RDOGG for that $2 super chat. 10 out of 10, keep preaching, brother. Thank you for that super chat. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you are lacking in intelligence and you are full of emotion, this might not be the right conversation for you, because you may not understand that there is something called common law. Shout out to Hotep. I always say, what happened to Hotep? I think we benefited so much from Hotep, which is why they tried to destroy it. Because Hotep is how and where we learned about common law and maritime law that still exist. And for a lot of people who used to boo-boo on Hotep, look at how they are defining sanctuary city. They are purposely going out of their way to separate the definition from common law. Hello. I know a lot of Hotepers out there is loving the way I'm breaking this down. They are purposely going out of their way to separate it from common law, maritime law. The definition reads as such: a city whose municipality, it's the principle. It's the principalities in this shit. It's the municipalities in this shit. That's what we're talking about this morning. The municipalities in this shit. Whose municipal laws tend to protect undocumented immigrants from deportation or prosecution. Prosecution meaning crimes they commit. Listen to this, despite federal immigration laws. That's why we talked about Law and Order SVU and the FBI coming in and the chain of command. That's why I went to DC and the lack of understanding of that incompetent mayor about the chain of command. What do you mean? How the whole sentence the whole sentence should be thrown out the whole window. How can it disregard itself in the last part of this? It's double talk. Somebody in the chat was saying propaganda. This is propaganda. Somebody in the chat was saying propaganda. How can police enforce something that goes against federal law when police are sworn to uphold the Constitution? This is why you don't have police stopping shootings and crimes in sanctuary Democratic ran cities, because they got to take care of homelessness. Police got to take care of the homeless. Police got to clean up garbage. Police got to take care of single parent home children. Yeah, police got to be your daddy. Think about what you want police to do and what you want Trump to do. So after you load all this up on the local Chicago PD, another thing you want to... Our goal was achieved. Shout out to everybody on YouTube right now. We just achieved our first goal in our vertical line. And I believe, baby, we probably at 7,000 subscribers. 7,000! 7,000! Woo! Like, share, and subscribe. I'm so pumped up. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. We work hard. 7,000 subscribers, man. 7,000 subscribers. Like, share, subscribe. Come and be a member of one of the most fire podcasts and the livest chat in the building. Municipal laws, despite federal immigration laws. So sanctuary cities exist in contradiction to federal law. How could that be? That means sanctuary cities are illegal, right? Sanctuary cities should go to the Supreme Court because they exist in contradiction with federal law, and we understand the hierarchy, right? This is the problem in Chicago. They are confused about the chain of command. They are confused about the chain of command in Chicago, right? The feds coming in. The federal government is coming in because you failed in Chicago, in Portland, Oregon. I'm going to show you the failures in Portland, Oregon. Can I get the failures in Portland, Oregon? This is what I mean by why the feds would come in, just like when the feds come in and there's a local investigation that has national ramifications. Can you guys hear me? When there's a local investigation that has national ramifications, the feds may come in and take it from the local police. And the local police may be good police, good lawmen. It doesn't matter. It's no longer your case. This case touches too many different things on a geopolitical and on a national level. So now the feds are going to handle it. So let me show you why the feds why the feds were called in. The young black brother already explained why feds came into Chicago. It's because that's where they sent the Venezuelan gang. Do you guys know about TDA, Trenta de Agua? There's a reason why they're in Chicago in the black neighborhoods. There's a reason why they went to that apartment complex. They went to that apartment complex in Chicago because black Chicagoans begged for help, because the Chicago complexes were overtaken by Venezuelan gangs. Trenta de Agua, TDA, thousands, 40,000 Venezuelans came into Aurora, Colorado and Chicago and extorted black Americans. Trump is the greatest president for black America. Trump is the greatest president for black America. There is no, because all he is doing is, like that black brother said, he's sending in the National Guard and ICE to clean up the black neighborhoods, to help black people. When you get the Venezuelan gangs out of the neighborhood, isn't that better for you? For the black citizens, you want the Venezuelan gang there. I don't understand. It's confusing to me. Like the brother said, tell me you a Democratic plantation slave without telling me you're a Democratic plantation slave. Because I remember you begging for help. I remember the blacks in Aurora, Colorado begging for help, federal help, because the local police couldn't handle the cartels who are now in America taking over the black gangs in the black neighborhoods. You guys ask for federal help. The federal help comes, and then you create an ICE-free zone in sanctuary cities that are contradictory to the federal law and the Constitution. It just don't make no sense. The worst part is that you got dumbed down Democrats who don't get it. Why do I have to read? Think about, I'm an old black guy. You guys are talking shit about me in the chat. Let's deal with this reality of the shit talkers in the chat. Why do if the things you say about me are true in the chat, why do I have to define ICE-free zone? Why is it Rachel Maddow telling you what an ICE-free zone is? Why do I have to define sanctuary city? Why? Why don't you know what a sanctuary city is? As we have clashes in Portland, Oregon, this is the reason why I believe the citizens of Chicago and Portland, Oregon are clashing with ICE. They don't know the definition of a sanctuary city. They don't know it's in contradiction to federal law and constitutional law. That's your citizenry. That's who we are as Americans. What are we even doing if we're standing up for immigrants, but we're not standing up for the Constitution and the Bill of Rights? Do you understand the perverse way the Democrats are doing this? They have you throwing away and stepping on the most valuable things to you as an American, to stand up for immigration. These immigrants are not citizens, so they are asking American citizens to shit on federal law. Can you guys understand this, how complex this is? This is 4D chess. So they want to say, they want to guilt trip you. Democrats are want to guilt trip you. They're trying to guilt trip me in the chat right now. How many names have they called me this morning? The Democrats want to guilt trip you into foregoing your federal law and rights. The Democrats say, hey, be part of a sanctuary city in the ICE-free zone. To do that, though, you have to forego your constitutional rights. You have to tell police officers who have been sworn to protect you and uphold the Constitution to go against that oath in order for you not to be held in effigy as a social in the democratic society, or else you can be called names. You can be canceled if you don't go along with the ice-free zone. If you don't go along with the sanctuary city, you can be called names. You can be fired. You can be canceled if you don't go against your constitutional rights and your own American principles. I've said for a while the Democrats are anti-democratic, and it's working. Look at the chat. It's working. There are a lot of idiots who don't understand what I'm saying. That when you agree with sanctuary cities, when you agree with ice-free zones, when you fight against ICE and the National Guard, you are basically pissing on America and everything that benefits you. And it's a trick. I think you're being hoodwinked. Look at my shorts on my channel. I think the Democratic liberals, you didn't listen to them when they said we're trained Marxists. Remember when the BLM leaders said we're trained Marxists? You got to look at Antifa, because Antifa and BLM are like this. Antifa and BLM are one. What is the goal of all this? I know the goal. The goal is to get you to give up your Bill of Rights and your Constitution for Marxism and socialism, leading to communism. And they will create what you will own nothing. You remember that? You will own nothing and be happy. You will own nothing and be happy because look at you. You are willing to fight and die in the street for a principle that is not based in federal law. Think about it. The sanctuary city is a democratic ideal. As I read to you the definition of ice-free zone and sanctuary city, you got to understand it's not law. It's not constitution. This is a democratic liberal ideal. I argue based in social Marxist practices. This is a democratic liberal idea. These are new names, new nomenclatures. Ice-free zones, sanctuary cities never existed. Even when I read the definition, it has to purposely clarify Northern America because there is a different definition for sanctuary city. This is a brand new idiom. This is a brand new definition created by Democratic think tanks, and Trump says it's fueled by George Soros. Who is the real leader creating these things in the Democratic Party? Oh man, I gotta clean up the chat. We gotta clean up the chat. The chat going crazy. Put the question in the super chat. If you want to ask me a question, put the question in the super chat. Who put the question in the super chat if you have a legitimate question? Tampa Bong in the building. It's funny how our community used to call the federal government to impose and enforce constitutional laws. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Oh, man, some people could hear me, man. Some people could hear me, man. If you got a question, put it in the super chat. We're cleaning up the chat right now. We're cleaning up the chat right now. If y'all Tampa Bong, shame, guilt, insults, and the need to be right. Shout out to Tampa Bong in the building. That's my brother, Charlie Hustle Vision. Y'all are not about to get paid like Charlie Kirk. Black man, cut it out. Oh my goodness. We just cleaning up the chat right now. Beverly Lewis said hi to you, man. Hi to you, Beverly. What country can you go to and get health care, housing, clothing, and money when you enter in that country illegally? Come on, talk about it. Talk about it, T-O-double-D. Come on, man. Talk about it, man. Maria, prove your point. Where Maria at? We get Maria out of here. Did we get Maria out of here already? No, that's Mrs. Perfect Timing. Don't be nice, Mrs. Perfect Timing. You see somebody saying something stupid, get them out of here. Get Maria out of here. Get them out of here. I know Miss Perfect Timing at work, though. That's why I took away the wrenches. It ain't your job to clean up the chat. That's my job to clean up the chat. He said, stop. Get him up out of here. It's simple. Only dummies don't get it. I agree. It's hella simple. It's hella simple, man. It's hella simple. Shinobi Swishy said hi. Is that some weirdos? Let's get the weirdos out of here. Let's get the weirdos out of here, man. We gotta clean up the chat, man. How do test for Civil War? Let's get the weirdos up out of here. Let's get the Trump 2028. Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby. Trump 2028. Relax and talk sports. I don't know why you didn't get a notification, man. And my computer was tripping, man. But thank you for showing up despite not having a notification, man. Thank you so much. So can you verify this for your viewers? What do you want me to verify, Christian? Because it sounds like you hating. Well, let me get back up here. Get C-Dot ass up out of here. I don't need you. I don't need you. Get you up out of here. Clean up the chat. Clean up the chat. Clean up the chat. How many people like that, man? Let's clean up the chat. Clean up the chat. Clean up the chat. God, it's a long time coming. Arrest, prosecute to the fullest. Thank you, Pinky. Thank you, Pinky. It's Pinky in the brain. All right, we cleaned up the chat a little bit. Double tap, hit the like button. We still on our way to 100 likes. We cleaned up the chat a little bit. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Now, I want to show you the video of Portland, Oregon. We talked about the chain of command, and when the feds come in, the feds have rank, right? There was a black police leader in Chicago who actually told the citizens, do not fight against the National Guard and the ICE. He understood the chain of command. He sounded like he was ex-military. He sounded very different than the leaders in DC. It was so embarrassing when they were in front of the press, when the black female mayor, black female police chief in DC were asked about the chain of command. It was so easy to answer the question because it's not just about this particular activity. It's about every day who has the chain of command. When you're at work as the chief of police and you're doing an investigation, I pray when the FBI, this might be another reason why crime is so rampant in Chicago, because the police are corrupt and don't understand the chain of command. I pray when the FBI has to come into the Washington, D.C. Police Department to come in and take over a case, they don't have to deal with the same incompetence that Mayor Bowser and the chief of police showed. When ICE and National Guard got to D.C., they didn't know how to answer the question on chain of command. I'm telling you, this is at the crux of the issue going on in Chicago. So let's take a look at Portland. Let's take a look at Portland, and let's look at why y'all gonna be surprised at this. And you know what looked like this? My wife used to love to go to San Francisco and Oakland, and I stopped going to Oakland for this very reason. One day we was at Emeryville. I wanted to take her to a restaurant, and this is what I saw, and I was like, I can't believe they've allowed the homeless to take over the way they have. That's a bus. You see that bus? The city bus, apartments, people parked. Look at that. That's probably $1 million house. Nice neighborhood. This is a public park in Portland. A beautiful Portland park. And they're not there because they're out getting their money for the drugs right now. At night, this place is probably dangerous because they're all there getting high. They either sleep or out robbing and stealing to get their drugs for tonight. What does that say? Capitalism. Now, this is the thing, though. This is the thing I want you to understand. So this is a public park in Portland. This is a public park in Portland. But I want to read something. This is a public park in Portland, Oregon. Traffic drives by. People are parking on the street next to it. Large apartment complexes line the park and just look at it, right? This is why the feds are coming to Portland, Oregon, right? But the thing I want to share with you about this is the fact that Portland, Oregon was one of the main cities to defund the police and use and misappropriate millions of dollars that they took from money will not fix this. Something has to be done at a fundamental level to initiate change. Portland has a problem they can't seem to ever fix. Just mind-blowing. This is just mind-blowing. They had $100 million, like Chicago had 150, so they spent hundreds of $millions on immigrants. Chicago spent $150 million. Aurora spent $100 million on immigrants. So we got money, millions of dollars being spent on immigration, but the money being defunded from the police, and then they misappropriate the funds. In Portland, Oregon, they took the money from the police. They had an initiative for money for the fix the parks, right? They said we're gonna defund the police and we're gonna use the money to fix the parks for the kids. And guess what happened? The city council embezzled and misappropriated the money. So they taking the money from the parks and the kids, and they not helping the kids. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? That's some cold shit, ain't it? Ain't that some cold shit? Tampa bond, 500, and in the currency, my brother overseas. This is about 10 USD. Keep up the great work. Thank you, brother, man. Thank you for your love support. Tampa bond, see all the trolls, and I love all my family, man, that support me, and like I just know that I'm glad y'all see I'm not Superman, because it's not easy. I know they think black men are Superman, but I'm not Superman. So I all the negative stuff in the chat is kind of like, it make me think about Charlie Kirk, man. This I'm looking at right now, Malcolm X. Malcolm X said the white liberal is the worst enemy to America and the worst enemy to the black man. I'm gonna say that one more time. I quote Malcolm X. The white liberal is the worst enemy to America and the worst enemy to the black man. One more time, quote from Malcolm X. The white liberal. If you want to know why I do this, you know what I'm saying? If you think I'm just doing this out of thin air, nah, man, there is contextual basis for my opinion. And for when people call me out my name and say I'm type of race traitor, they don't understand. They really don't understand. This is Malcolm X, who everybody supposedly looks up to. And you probably forgot about this because you too busy kissing the white liberal ass. I tell you, if Malcolm X was alive, he'd be really roasting you black Democrats. If Malcolm X was alive, he would be getting on you black Democrats' ass. And you black Democrats would not have the air to breathe that you have now, to be celebrities, to be on talk shows. If we had a Malcolm X, the black liberal Democrat supporting black celebrity would not exist. He'd be roasting your ass every day on Twitter. The white liberal is the worst enemy to America and the worst enemy to the black man. That's a quote from Malcolm X. Your opinion sucks. So Jay Novak, you're out of here. Jay Novak, you're out of here. I had something I wanted to show. That's that brother right there. That was good right there. I got the Chicago mayor, Groke context of the statement. On October 3rd, Donald Trump escalated his ongoing feud with Illinois Democratic leaders by posting on Truth Social that Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker should be in jail for failing to protect ICE officers. This came amid heightened tensions over federal immigration enforcement operations in Chicago, including clashes between protesters and U.S. Immigration on Custom Enforcement, ICE, agents outside of a processing facility in Broadview, Illinois. Over the past 2 weeks, more than a dozen protesters have been arrested during these incidences. The remark ties into Trump's Operation Midway Blitz, a federal initiative. Remember what I said about chain of command, a federal initiative that has led to approximately 900 immigration-related arrests in Chicago area. In response to local resistance, the Trump administration federalized and deployed about 300 Illinois National Guard troops for the last for at least 60 days. Now, remember what I said about National Guard. These are the sons and daughters of Chicago. These are the sons and daughters of Illinois. These are Americans who volunteer on the weekend. Please work with the National Guard. Understand that we thank them for their service. Understand that the National Guardsmen are everyday Americans like you. They work a job, they pay bills, and they still find time to volunteer to protect the country. Please don't push back on the National Guard. Understand that they live and work and love Chicago, Illinois, and America, which is why they volunteer. Let them do their job. Help them do their job. Okay, 300 Illinois National Guard troops for at least 60 days. Same thing like with DC, along with hundreds of Texas National Guard soldiers, despite objections from Pritzker and Johnson. Now, don't forget, Gavin Newsom did the same thing to clean up San Francisco. The picture I showed you of Portland, Oregon, we had similar video like that. Feces on the street in San Francisco, human feces on the street in San Francisco, homeless overtaking public parks. It looked just like that video in Portland, Oregon, but Xi Jinping, the president of China, was coming to visit San Francisco. And what did the mayor and the black female mayor and Gavin Newsom governor do in San Francisco? Well, they did the same thing Trump is doing with his Operation Midway Blitz. They use National Guard and external help to clean up San Francisco, to come in, move out the homeless, and clean up the boo-boo off the streets. And everybody was so happy and so surprised and was like, wow, look, you can actually clean up San Francisco. Why don't the Democrats clean up Portland, Oregon? Why don't the Democrats clean up Chicago, San Francisco? Why didn't they clean up DC when they had the chance? So when Gavin Newsom was asked and say, hey, Gavin Newsom, did you clean up San Francisco just because the president Xi Jinping is coming from China? And Gavin Newsom said, yes. Yes, we cleaned up San Francisco because we have visitors from China. All my question was to Blexit. When I tell people to Blexit the fuck out of the Democratic Party is, why didn't you clean it up for the American citizens? Why do Democrats operate politically the way they operate? And again, why do Democrats continue to vote? Why? Just tell me you a black Democrat plantation slave without telling me, right? Why are you still on a Democratic plantation when they do things like use the same tactics that Trump is using to necessarily clean up places like Portland, Chicago, and Memphis, which is actually necessary, just like it was necessary to use external forces to clean up San Francisco, because the problem in San Francisco had gotten so bad, Gavin Newsom, that you needed help cleaning it up. The problem with you cleaning up San Francisco is not that you cleaned up San Francisco, is that you cleaned up San Francisco using the same tactics that Trump is using to clean up other American cities plagued by homelessness and immigration, but that you hold Trump accountable and you say Trump is wrong for doing the same thing you did. Secondarily, Trump is doing this to make America great again. For American citizens, you admittedly cleaned up San Francisco for a foreign entity. Those are all your words. You cleaned up San Francisco for a foreign entity, along with hundreds of Texas National Guard soldiers. Despite objections from Pritzker and Johnson, local officials have accused the federal actions of excessive force and described the deployment as an unconstitutional invasion. Illinois and Chicago filed a lawsuit October 7th to block it, with the court hearing scheduled on October 9th. We already won in LA. We already did this. We've been to the Supreme Court time and time again. It's like the people in Chicago and they're just grandstanding. Well, all I would like to say say about this that I could point out, extrapolate, is how poorly Mayor Bowser handled this. One thing that will be the difference that people, intellectuals, like my brother Tampa Bong, I'm going to read his comment, will look at after this is how the mayor, who was a nobody, the mayor of Chicago was a black man, a brother. He's a Democrat, but you know what? He was a nobody before this. The way he's used this as a springboard to elevate him in national Democratic politics. This is the example I'm saying how Mayor Bowser failed. And for those people who don't understand what I'm talking about, Mayor Bowser, the mayor of DC, her failures, right? How she's been performing under Inquisition on Capitol Hill. Mayor Bowser failed. She didn't do what the black mayor of Chicago is doing, taking advantage of this and using it to elevate himself, just like Pete Buttigieg, the black female mayor of Chicago, the black female mayor of DC, who's been mayor 10 years and 3 decades, is hiding. She got elevated to the national stage. She could be doing the same thing as the mayor of Chicago, fighting Trump, talking shit about Trump, elevating her stature, making more Americans know her name so that maybe she could run for Senate or Congress, elevate herself in politics. She didn't do that. This is the Democrat Party. Tampa Bond said Governor Orville fan bus initially used the National Guard to prevent the Little Rock 9 from entering Central High School in 1950. I remember that. Obstructing desegregation. I do remember that. President Eisenhower eventually federalized the Guard to enforce the Supreme Court's interrogation ruling, which led to the troops protecting the black students. Amen. This is not the first time the National Guard has been federalized and used to come in over, just like the FBI and local police, to get something done that the local municipalities couldn't do or refused to do. Oh, I forgot. The Democrats did protest the Little Rock 9. The Dixiecrats, the Democrats, the Dixiecrats, the party of the KKK. Okay. Trump has long criticized Chicago as a war zone. Listen to this. Trump has long criticized Chicago as a war zone due to crime and has repeatedly targeted Pritzker and Johnson as weak on immigration and public safety. I have to agree with the definition of ice-free zones and sanctuary cities. This is not the first time Trump has called for gelling political opponents. Past examples include Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, but it marks direct threats against sitting elected officials in a blue state. Don't forget about the James Comey indictment that just came down. Don't forget about the James Comey indictment. If you learn anything from Pam Bondi on Capitol Hill, is that we are not backing down. James Comey, you better be prepared. James Comey talking about, I'm ready to go to court. Yeah, you ready to go to court with Pam Bondi after seeing her performance on Capitol Hill? Yeah, man, we're going to ask some questions about everything you did. The Hillary Clinton, the dossier, the Hunter Biden laptop, the hoax, the server. So many questions for Comey. So many questions. I know the Democrats gonna be loving that. Boo, boo. Give me Democrats to Pam Bondi. I love you, Pam Bondi. I'm so excited for Pam Bondi to be leading the prosecution too. Giving Democrats the boo blues. Giving Democrats the boo blues. I think what they hate most about Trump empowered Pam Bondi is her being so what's the word I want to use? Not just prolific, but capable, right? Pam Bondi being such a capable, able-bodied person. Yeah, that I would be afraid too. I wouldn't want to be prosecuted by Pam Bondi. Did you hear her on Capitol Hill? Oh man, she gonna have a good old time. She gonna have a good old time. Governor J.B. Pritzker is on a post from X. Pritzker stated, I will not back down. Trump is now calling for the arrest of elected representatives, checking his power. What else is left on the path to full-blown authoritarianism? How many times have we said this is leftist radicalization when you call Trump an authoritarian and you omit the fact that you have Venezuelan gangs running rampant in Southside Chicago? This is leftist propaganda radicalization. He's not authoritarian. People begged. I just played a black Chicagoan who said, you guys begged for federal help. This is how you radicalize people into shooting ICE agents. Because they think ICE agents are taking out and acting out the rules and edict of an authoritarian. That's not the truth. And I agree you should be arrested. His masked agents already are grabbing people off the street. That's what we voted for. Separating children from parents. Go back home. He has vowed to use every lever. Thank you. We want him to use every lever. That's what you do in law enforcement. Use every lever at the state's disposal to resist Trump of an authoritarian march. Who called it like Trump is Hitler or Nazi? These are National Guard from your state. These are the sons and daughters of Illinois. Why would you poison pen those people? These are not a foreign entity. This is so bad. This is so horrible on the side of the Democrats. Why would you poison your citizens against themselves? The National Guard are citizens, sons and daughters of Illinois. There's no reason to push back on the National Guard. They volunteered to protect America. They are Americans, and not only are Americans, but like most National Guard, they're local. They're local, and they have a job to do. We in America, you know what? When I grew up in America, you know what we knew and we didn't do? We didn't fuck with people while they're at work. We didn't fuck with people. We didn't fuck with people while they're at work. The National Guard got a job to do. ICE agents got a job to do. Mayor Brandon Johnson has responded on social media. This is not the first time Trump has tried to have black men unjustly I couldn't even read it. But Brandon Johnson is taking advantage. Mayor Bowser, I don't even know her first name. Most people don't even know who I'm talking about when I refer to Mayor Bowser. Let's just be honest. How many people knew the name of the DC mayor? Did you know it was a black woman? Did you know the DC chief of police was a black woman? And did you know the mayor was mayor for 10 years, 3 terms? And did you know her name was Bowser? Tampa Bog said, isn't Trump sending troops to Tennessee? Memphis, we talked about that earlier. A red state. Memphis is supposed to be next. Memphis is supposed to be next when you say, and we know about all the violence and corruption with that black female police chief. Oh my God. Oh man, I'm gonna get in trouble. How is she still chief of police after the police beat and killed that young man? After the police allowed Young Dolph to be murdered, the gold van got off. The people involved were arrested. Like, she's the most horrible. She was horrible. Then she come from Atlanta, the chief of police in Memphis, and they probably gonna vote for her to be mayor. We love incompetency, just like we keep voting for Bowser in DC. Marion Barry stayed in office until he died, even after smoking crack. Marion Barry was in office in DC for over 32 years. Marion Barry died in office in DC. So I don't think Bowser is going anywhere. And I don't think the chief of police in Memphis is going anywhere. Brandon Johnson responded on social media, this is not the first time Trump has tried to have black men unjustly arrested. I'm not going anywhere. Shout out to Brandon Johnson, man. God dog, man. Political theater at its finest. He signed an executive order October 7th. You ain't no executive, nigga. Brandon Johnson signed an executive order. Get the fuck out of here. He signed an executive order on October 7th, barring federal agents from using city property for staging operation, and has joined the lawsuit framing the federal moves as politically motivated. Broader Democratic reactions include California Governor Gavin Newsom, who's on a 4-year campaign for president because this has just been the first year of Trump's presidency. Pritzker threats against the governor's group and warning from other blue state leaders about the deployments resembling martial law. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's too much, man. It's too much, man. It's too much, man. It's too much. Oh man, Chicago mayor should be in jail, man. Chicago man should be in jail. Man, government still shut down after 2 weeks. It's been a great show today, man. Thank you guys for watching. We got $10 in super chats. 7,000 subscribers. 7,000, 7,000, 7,000. Thank you, 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 thank you. Thank you, God, for this opportunity. Thank you for this microphone. Thank you for this voice. I pray that the message is blessed. I pray it's earnest and honest. I pray that you continue to guide me and lead me in all ways. I pray that the people who listen and follow and support are blessed and covered. I ask all these blessings in your name. Amen, amen, amen. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, everybody, for supporting. Thank you, everybody who hit the like button. Thank you for everybody who hit the super chat. Thank you for everybody who come through every day at 11 a.m. Tap in, top of the mid-morning podcast. My name is Perfect. This is the Perfect Timing Podcast. Thank you for watching. Tampa Bong, Deborah Carr, Mrs. Perfect Timing. I see Relax and Talk Sports. And I haven't seen a lot of the other people. I wonder. But some people still came. Even if they don't got their wrench, they still came and watched and support and communicated in the chat. Mrs. Perfect Timing is at work and she's moderating the chat. Tampa Bong is overseas and he's donating foreign currency. So anybody who's talking shit about supporting, you just is broke, bitch. Tampa Bong is overseas donating foreign currency. Miss Perfect Timing at work. Deborah Carr supporting me for years. Like, you choose to lose, man. And I just want to say to everybody, all the supporters, thank you, because y'all know I'm sensitive. Y'all know I'm a Leo, and y'all know the shit fuck with me. And y'all support means everything. Y'all support, y'all love, the donations. It keep me going. Promise it keep me going. Gonna get out here. Gonna get my workout in. Been fasting. Have you guys ate? I haven't even ate yet. You know I'll be fasting. Y'all know I don't eat till after the podcast. I don't eat till after the podcast. It's water. Water, tea, and herbs. That's all I do in the morning. Then I go work out and I eat. So I work out and I sweat. Yeah, I'll be sweating on the podcast. It's not as hot as it used to be. Y'all remember in the summertime, your boy would be in here. It was like 100 degrees. I'm in here melting pounds, sweating, and all the ladies was loving it. Ladies, I could sweat. I still sweat. Shout out to Belinda, the blender, who was in the chat. She said, I'm 65. Like, I wouldn't hit that thing, man. Bring that 65-year-old thing over here. You always come over here with that wolf pussy. They said, why you always come up here with that wolf pussy? Anybody in the chat like a good wolf pussy? I'm a fan of a good wolf pussy. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of good loving in that wolf pussy, man. Wolf pussy. Like, for real, man. Don't play with me with that wolf, man. Do not play with me. I know I look young. I must be doing good with my, I look young. I must be doing good with my facial routine and everything. I jump all up and down on that 65-year-old wolf pussy. Yes, sir. You know what I love about Belinda? Belinda knew the lyrics. I met a girl named Belinda. The homeboys called her Belinda. She said, watch out, I'm 65. Like, yeah, you know the song, though. How come you know the lyrics, right? How come you know the lyrics, right? And she didn't say nothing else. You're like, I'm going to tell her myself. Let me be quiet. I don't want this man to know where I'm at in the Bay Area. If I know it too short, it sounds like a nut. She got quiet real quick. Like Dennis might figure out who I am. Like, you know what I'm saying? I see you watching what you're looking at. I see you looking what you're looking at. I see you looking what you're looking at. Double tap, hit the like button on our way out. We on our way out, man. Double tap, hit the like, but we just having some fun. We like to have some jokes and shit at the end of the show. Double tap, hit the like button, man. Thumbs up, everybody. I see you looking what you're looking at. Good show today. Fire show today, man. Fire show today, man. Very happy with the success of the podcast, the way things are going. It's ups and downs, it's ebb and flow, you know, with the trolls and but I said it, it's like a bully. Bully get tired, man. Sometimes in life, the only way to deal with a bully is to not give up. Because a bully, you got to think about what makes a person a bully. A bully is not consistent. A bully is not resilient. That's what makes them a bully. So if you keep showing up to school, typically what happens, the bully gets arrested, the bully's dad beats him and he can't come to school. This is all real life that happened to me. Like the bully cannot maintain the bullying because of what it takes to make a person a bully. So the people who troll and hate the channel, they can't maintain that over an extended period of time. Their phone get cut off, their cable get cut off, their mama kick them out, their girlfriend kick them out. The people who have the ability to troll and hate and create bots and shit like that, their life is not in a type of position that they can maintain the hate. So what I figured out, what God told me, you know, I didn't talk about Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk today. We're going to talk about Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk tomorrow. Candace Owens talked about a dream or a vision. What God told me is going to be a long winter. What does it mean when God says it's going to be a long winter? It means, son, buckle up. It's going to be cold out here in these streets, in these YouTube streets. It's going to be cold out here. You know, MAGA knew the climate. When I say every day MAGA knew the climate, it's going to be a long winter. When you see the liberals shooting people, when you see the liberals fighting the federal government, pretending not to understand the chain of command and hierarchy and how and why the systems were set up the way they were. Like, we need to bring civics back. Richard Dreyfuss, one of my favorite movies when I was a kid, Down and Out in Beverly Hills. But Richard Dreyfuss was in a lot of movies. And Richard Dreyfuss was famous at the end of his career for advocating for bringing back civics in high school, so that a lot of the things I talk about that I just run off, like earlier, somebody was confused when I was just rattling off things. They didn't understand common law, maritime law, municipal law, why I emphasize when I gave the definition of the ice-free zone and sanctuary city, why I even put emphasis on the fact the definition specifically mentioned municipal law. And I didn't define it, but I was hoping and praying that the people in the chat who are trolling, are upset and emotional, look it up. Look up maritime law. Look up common law. Look up municipal law. Find out why the definition specifically calls out municipal law. It's going to empower you so much civically, locally, politically, to understand these things, and in the chat and on this podcast. So, yeah, man, I want to thank you guys, man, because it's a hard job. And God told me it's going to be a hard, long winter. So buckle up. Buckle up. Why are we having ICE attacks? Why are we having pushback? There's a lack of understanding. And when you have ignorance abound, that's when you get violence, right? You guys know that, right? Ignorance begets violence. Violence begets ignorance. Ignorance begets violence. And I always get upset with the fact that the Democrats don't do a better job of educating you on the entire situation. That's why the video of that young black man is such a powerful video, reminding you, not my voice, but another voice reminding you of the facts on the ground, of what actually happened during the last administration, that by their own accounts, they say 10 million. Trump and MAGA, we say 25 million. But we can go with the 10 million number. Where did those 10 million immigrants go? Right? Why did they come here? Where did they go? What have they been doing since they've been here? These are real life questions that American citizens in these Black and brown communities are faced with, because like the young brother said, the immigrants didn't go to the elite Democratic millionaire neighborhoods in Chicago. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny that he had to remind you that the reason that ICE is at that Black apartment building is because we saw a video in 2022 of Trinidad de Agua Venezuelan gangs taking over that Black apartment building? Why did it take that young man to remind you and me to remind you about the videos we saw in Aurora, Colorado, and that 40,000 Venezuelan gang members took over Aurora, Colorado? And that they actually asked for help from the federal government when it first happened, but who was in power and did nothing? Who was your border czar and said, don't come? And what did Trump say? Oh, I'm going to come. Who was your border czar? And what did she do? She told him not to come. But what did you do about the Trinidad de Agua Venezuelan criminals who had already came? Who had already came? Who had already came? Kamala Harris, border czar, Biden administration, Democrats. So you said, don't come. What did you do about the 10 million people who had already came? See, I told my audience about Ellis Island. Why do we have babies separated at the border? Why? I said the Democrats hate children and hate families. Why did I argue that the Democrats hate children and hate families? Because they did this without being prepared. And we have historical protocol of how you properly do this mass immigration. We built Ellis Island. The whole Statue of Liberty is because America undertook an undergoing of mass immigration purposely. But we just didn't let people come here. We didn't just open the borders and say, come here, right? We brought people in through a specific port of entry, maritime law, birth certificate, documents, status, maritime law. I told you about Vito Corleone. Vito, his name wasn't Vito Corleone, but the white Anglo who was checking him in, he is a Sicilian. He's not even considered white. Did you know Italians weren't considered white when they got here? Scottish and Irish weren't considered white when they got here. Had to live in ghettos in New York. You ever seen Gangs of New York? We had immigration problems. Shout out to Tampa Bone, who brought up the federal government being used during civil rights and school busing. What about when we had immigration in the gangs of New York, when Irish weren't considered white and Scottish weren't considered white and Italians weren't in mafias, when Italians were in mafias because Italians were left out of American success because Italians weren't considered white. Vito Corleone. Vito Corleone was a child, but he did not get trafficked because we had a system. If you remember The Godfather, Vito Corleone came here as a child alone. Imagine that in 2026, we're supposed to get better as a country, as a people. Vito Corleone and a lot of you, maybe your grandfather, maybe your great-grandfather came here. Do you know the story of Oliver Twist and kids working in factories? FDR creating the federal laws that we have now that said children can't work in factories over 8 hours, the 8-hour day. The 8-hour day came from children like Vito Corleone being forced to work in factories because there was no law against children working in factories 16-hour days. That was America. Vito Corleone went to Ellis Island for processing. Because we bought and built Ellis Island to process immigrants through a legal process, Vito Corleone wasn't even allowed in the public because he was quarantined because of smallpox. How many diseases came across with those 10 million because we did not have an Ellis Island? How many children were trafficked? How many families were separated? When we have historical protocol of how you do it, you build and create a Ellis Island, a port of entry, so the immigrants can be birthed. If you want to do it right and not have Trinidad de Agua take over black apartment buildings in the world, Portland, Memphis, and Chicago. But like I say, some of y'all are not ready for that political conversation. But yeah, we had Ellis Island. What did your border czar do? What did Biden do? They opened the border with nowhere for them to go, nowhere for them to sleep, no one for them to use the bathroom. Think about this. They need somewhere to sleep, use the bathroom, and go to the doctor and be educated. None of those plans were put in place by your border czar. At the very least, the border czar could have put in plans on how we're going to educate these people, how we're going to migrate them into American politics and culture, not just open the border and then look the other way and say we got to focus on Ukraine. They opened the border and looked the other way. They didn't put in no policy. They gave food stamps. This is the Democrats. This is like Gavin Newsom allowing people to steal $1,000 worth of food. They gave out food stamps. They gave out hotels, but they didn't create any mechanisms like we did when we had Ellis Island. Do you know you came in, you got a name, you got a social security, you got to get your this, your that, you get it. Like, we know how to do this. We did it before. We did mass immigration. We did this before. Why did Democrats lie to you about what the problem that they created? Because they did not do it correctly. If you wanted to open the border, there was a proper way to do it. And America is one of the best countries who knows how to do it the right way. America went and built Ellis Island, the processing facility. America knows how to do this. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Become a member. Hit the super chat. We hit our goal today for the first time, first live stream. Thank you, Mr. Per Time, and thank you, Temple. Thank you for all my supporters. Thank you for everybody who watched. We said our prayers. We saying our thank yous. And we out tomorrow, 11 a.m. Same bat time, same bat channel. Y'all have a great day.